Hello and welcome to our video lesson on calculating the area of a circle. Here is our formula for calculating the area of a circle right here. A is equal to pi times r squared. Okay, let's talk about the different features of this formula. So A stands for area, pi stands for the number that we talked about, pi, 3.14, and r here stands for the radius. So remember, the radius is the distance from the middle of the circle to the outside. So in this circle, the radius is 5. So this r stands for the 5. And this little 2 up here is what's called an exponent. What it means is that you're multiplying that number by itself however many times the little number says. So in this situation, this formula, in a longer version, means pi times r times r times r. So this little 2 is just a short form for saying the number times itself. Okay, you're going to need to remember this formula, that it is the formula for the area of a circle. So I need you to write down this title here and then write down the formula. I'm also going to give you a trick to help you remember which formulas are for the area versus which formulas are for the circumference. In this situation, this formula here is for the area. I remember that because it has this little 2 up here, the exponent. And remember that the answer to an area problem is measured in units squared. So an example would be meters squared, or feet squared, or kilometers squared, anything squared. And these 2 way up here is the same as this 2 way up here. So I remember that the formula for the area of a circle has the 2 as an exponent, whereas the other 2 formulas don't. Okay, now that you know how to remember it, let's talk about how to actually use this formula. We need to find the area of this circle here. Okay, just draw a quick little sketch of this circle with the radius drawn in. We know that this 5 is our radius, so we have everything we need to start. A is equal to pi r squared. So instead of writing r, I'm going to put our 5 in. A is equal to pi 5 times 5 squared. You should be writing this down. And then I know that this squared, this exponent up here, really means the 5 times 5. So I'm going to write it out a little bit longer. So I have pi times 5 times 5. Okay, well 5 times 5 is 25. So I'm going to write pi times 25. Instead of writing pi, I'm now going to use our decimal that we know is 3.14 times 25. Now I'm going to write it over here. 3.14 times 25. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. Add my goes 0. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6, and then I add them together. 0 plus 0 is 0, 7 plus 8 is 15, 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8, and 6 plus 1 is 7. Now I worry about the decimal places. There are 2 decimals up here, which means I need 2 decimal places in my answer. So I know that the area is equal to 78 decimal 50. Then I need units, because area is measured in units. What are my units here? To figure that out, I look back at my diagram over here, and I see that the units are feet. So I know that it's 78.50 feet squared, and that's my answer. If you show your work just like this, you will get full points. Make sure that there are a few key things. 1, all my equal signs are lined up in a line. 2, I've replaced everything in order, so it's really, really easy for your eye to see what's happened at each step. If you have any questions about this, pause this, rewind it, or ask me. Okay, we're going to move on to another type of problem. Now we're going to do a different type of problem that is a lot harder. Make sure that you understand the previous problem before you go on to this one. So, find the area of the circular mirror, this one down here, with a diameter of 14 inches. So what that means is this distance across the mirror is 14 inches. Why this problem is harder is because our formula for area is A is equal to pi r squared. In this problem, we're looking for the radius, not the diameter. Instead, we have the diameter. So we need to go from the diameter to the radius. Okay, so the diameter is the full length across, whereas the radius is just half of it. So to find the radius, we take whatever the diameter is and divide it by 2. So here, I'm going to do that over here. R is equal to the diameter divided by 2, which is equal to 14 divided by 2, which is equal to 7. If you don't show your work this way, and if you just know, okay, the diameter is 14, so the radius must be 7, I don't mind if you just use a 7. That's totally fine with me. So now that we know our radius, we can sub that into our problem. Pi times 7 squared. Okay, 7 squared means it's pi times 7 times 7. And in this situation, we're using 22 over 7 for pi. So instead of pi, we're going to write 22 over 7 times 7 times 7. There are several things you can do from here. You could multiply 7 by 7 into 49 and then treat it like a normal problem with a fraction and a whole number. Or when I look at it, all of them are correct, but when I look at it, I see this 7 here and this one down here. Whenever you take a number, so in this case the number would be 22, and multiply and divide it by the same number, so 22 divided by 7 times 7, you're really canceling the two of them out. So it really means that we have 22 times 7. That's a lot easier to do than 22 over 7 times 49. 22 times 7 is, 2 times 7 is 14, 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So that means our answer is 154 inches squared. Now because we had a word problem with a mirror, we need a word answer. So the mirror is 154 inches squared. And that's how to do the area for this problem. If you have any questions, especially about this step right here, please let me know and ask me, because I'd like to help you. Otherwise, you should get started on the practice problem. I'll see you later.